New glasses, new me, new year. I read 3 books this January and I'm really excited to talk about them. So first up is Dubliners by Joyce. This book has been sitting on my shelf for a little while now. I got it for my birthday last year and I finally finished it this January. So Dubliners is a collection of short stories written by Joyce that are set in early 20th century Dublin, Ireland. And what this book is really good at is being really detailed but not flowery in its language. It really feels like the author is observing his surroundings and reporting them, but in a way that doesn't feel clinical and it also doesn't feel excessive. And so I really appreciated the language. I know this is one of his more coherent works, so I'm really excited to see sort of how his writing changes when I go on to maybe Finnegan's Wake or Portrait of an Artist as a Young Man. Some stories are more interesting than others, but overall I did enjoy this. I did think it was a cool way to sort of get immersed in this world that Joyce writes in. Second book was Fun Home by Alison Bechdel, who is the creator of the Bechdel test. I heard of Fun Home a little while back, but I'm not super familiar with graphic novels, and so I was sort of intimidated to get started because I know this is a really deep sort of graphic novel, and I wasn't sure I would get all of it. And sure enough, I didn't. In this book, Bechdel really reflects on her childhood and her relationship with her father and sort of these parallels that she finds between their 2 lives and sort of thinking about all these things that she observed as a child from an adult's perspective. And so I thought it was really beautiful, very deeply personal, and I was just like really touched by all of it. There are a lot of literary references that I did not get. I'm not familiar enough with Proust or James Joyce to really understand or probably appreciate the parallels that she finds with them in her own life, but it's definitely worth a reread. I'm really excited to go back to this once I am more familiar with more works. But yeah, definitely would recommend. It was a really eye-opening experience as far as what graphic novels can be. And my last book that I read in January was The Shining by Stephen King. I got this as a gift. That was sort of a inside joke. I did enjoy reading this, however. The Shining is one of my favorite films of all time. I think Stanley Kubrick is an incredible director, and so I think my enjoyment of the film definitely colored my reaction to reading the book and sort of getting entrenched in the writing. I can't say I'm a fan of Stephen King's writing style, at least based on what I've read in here. This is the only Stephen King book I've ever read. There's just a lot of telling and not showing. And I think there is a balance you can strike between showing and telling and all that stuff when it comes to like your writing philosophy, but I think there was just a lot of telling of emotion and a lot of backstory that ultimately didn't create a lot of payoff in the end. I really enjoyed going more into Danny's relationship with his father. I liked that Wendy sort of had a backstory, and I liked certain things that changed in the plot between the book and the movie. I definitely want to reread it and maybe watch the movie one more time, and I'm interested to see if the stylistic choices were for this particular book or if this is just sort of a mark of Stephen King's writing in general. That's it. Those are all the books I read in January. 3 books is a lot for me, but I'm certainly hoping to read more this month, or in February, I guess. I'd love to know what you read this month and if you have any recommendations or thoughts on the books that I read, and I'll see you next time.